Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi. How are you?
Good morning, I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Adefemi. And good morning, Rufai. Good morning. All righty, let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, US President Donald Trump has removed Mike Waltz from his post as National Security Advisor and will nominate him as ambassador to the United Nations. Now, in a post on social media, Trump thanked Waltz for his work and said that he would be temporarily replaced by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who will continue as America's top diplomat. Now, Waltz had faced criticism for mistakenly adding a journalist to a group chat where sensitive military plans were being discussed, a political embarrassment likely to feature during confirmation hearings for this UN post. Now, the former Florida congressman is the first senior member of the administration to leave the White House in Trump's second term. President Trump may well be trying to avoid the chaos of his first term when he rotated through 4 national security advisors, 4 White House chiefs of staff, and 2 secretaries of state. Let's move on to Africa now. And a Kenyan opposition legislator was shot dead in the capital, Nairobi, in what police have described as a targeted and premeditated crime. Now, MP Charles Were was shot on Wednesday night after his car stopped at a roundabout on a busy major road. President William Ruto urged police to conduct a thorough investigation and said that those responsible must be held to account. Where was with his driver and bodyguard when a motorcycle taxi approached their car and a passenger disembarked and approached their car before firing at the MP. The legislator was re-elected in 2022 to represent Kasipul constituency in Western Kenya for the Orange Democratic Movement Party. The opposition leader Raila Odinga described Were as a gallant son of the soil. And finally, authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo are seeking to lift former President Joseph Kabila's immunity from prosecution after accusing him of backing rebels in the east. Now, Justice Minister Constant Mutamba says there's a substantial body of documents, testimony, and material facts, almost said empirical facts, almost like they wanted to quote you, Rufai, linking Kabila to the M23 armed group. Now, the M23 currently controls part of the mineral-rich east of the country after making significant advances earlier this year. Kabila, who is 53 years old now, has not commented on the accusations, but has in the past denied any connection with the insurgents. He did lead the Democratic Republic of Congo for 18 years after succeeding his father, Laurent Kabila, who was shot dead in 2001. Joseph was just 29 years old at the time. Now, after stepping down, he was given the title of Senator for Life, which gives him legal immunity. Now, in order to pursue a legal case, DR Congo's military prosecutor has asked the Senate to overturn this designation. Kabila has been living outside of the country in South Africa for the past 2 years. But at the beginning of last month, he did say that he would be returning to help find a solution to the conflict in the east. And, you know, Bimba, as you said, we should have like a little map of where's Joseph. We don't know where he is. We don't know where he is. What are your thoughts, Rufai?
Right. See, the truth has to be said. If it's linked to a matter that is very delicate like M23, we should be able to dig deep and bring the investigations out.
Agreed.
Because a matter like M23 that is ravaging the whole of Congo as we speak today is a matter that we must look at. And we must also have a country where, despite the fact that you have been a leader before, you should be able to come and answer for whatever crimes you had committed. The Joseph Kabila days were not easy days. A lot of things happened, but it's based on the facts. And we've seen some African leaders that have actually been penalized in the past. The former Chadian leader comes to mind for all the atrocities that was committed. So we need a proper investigation. And I think once you get out of power, you should be able to come back and account for things like this. Secondly, as regards Waltz, truth has to be said, I don't think, to a large extent, that the storm is over yet. The person I really expected to go has not gone.
Who is that?
That's Pete Hegseth.
Okay.
Because in the Pentagon, there were still more allegations of what was done in the Pentagon. How very sensitive national matters were leaked to wives, spouses, and family members, which is a very, very heavy one. So him saying Waltz should go and you put in, Marco Rubio to serve temporarily and you redeploy Waltz to the United Nations, that's not the way forward yet. And I think going forward, there has to be a proper investigation into what truly happened and what truly transpired out there. That's just it.
Thanks, Rufai.
All right. Yes, in the United States, I think everybody did assume that Pete Hegseth would also take a piece of the responsibility. Maybe Donald Trump is doing it in phases. Who knows? But I mean, it was such a huge security faux pas. It was a blunder of epic proportions to have that type of information leaking. How do you mistakenly add a journalist to a group that's discussing such top secret security information? So I don't think we've seen the end of this yet, just like Rufai is saying. But also, goodness me, isn't Marco Rubio a busy man? So he's now acting, to cover for Mike Waltz. He's also acting as the secretary in charge of his own duties of USAID.
Correct.
There's a fourth portfolio that he's also acting in capacity as well. So I just say, goodness me, isn't he the favored child? And he's a very busy man at the moment. But also people are saying that, okay, well, since Elon Musk is taking a step back, it looks like Donald Trump has chosen his new favorite, and he's seen that in Marco Rubio. But more importantly, on the African continent, where is Joseph Kabila?
Where are you?
I spotted him, well, not me personally,
I'm about
but
to say,
he was
spotted.
he was spotted in Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, last week for the King's 57th birthday, where he also met with former South African President Jacob Zuma, former Botswana President Ian Khama, and that was hugely publicized. And I suppose this is what is making Felix Tshisekedi and his government a little bit more uneasy, because it seems that the communication, the chatter around his imminent return, because it's not just about him physically returning to DRC, it's about the fact that it looks like he wants to return to power. That's what it looks like. It looks like the early stages of a presidential campaign, which is what has gotten everybody nervous, because they know the amount of influence he has, given his alliance and his relationship with Rwanda as well.
Yes.
Very interesting to see again how this will play out. Just one sentence on Kenya, which is that what is happening to Kenyan opposition is disheartening. There was a documentary that was supposed to be released around what some of the children, they weren't children, excuse me, the young people, the young adults who were killed during the protests last year, and that has been squashed. So it's just sad to see the state, the authoritarian state that Kenya is currently operating in.
Okay, let me editorialize, because that's what we're supposed to do. And it's as follows. In the case of Mike Waltz, has he been demoted or has he been promoted? I think that what President Trump has done is to promote him. Now he's been National Security Advisor, and in that capacity, we had this, scandal of him leaking signals to the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic Monthly. We became very controversial and all of that. And now it cost the government public embarrassment. Now what Trump has done is to praise him, that when he was in uniform, in the military, he did very well. When he was a congressman from Florida, he did very well. And he did also very well as National Security Advisor, as they say in the United States. Now he's nominating him as the United Nations ambassador for the United States, right? Now, that looks like promotion to me.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Two, that looks like soft landing to me. Before now, I think it was Elise Stefanik that was nominated, but that nomination was withdrawn for that position. What we should say is that, look, when Michael Waltz goes through Senate hearing, there will still be, this is still a nomination. Now, the major issue that will come up will be Signalgate. He has denied any wrongdoing. The government administration, as they say in the US, has tried to put a lipstick on it, but that will be the big issue. But if he survives that nomination and he becomes the United States ambassador to the UN, he will need to be told that he cannot go there and cause political embarrassment. Because what he did previously in that position is political embarrassment. And the point must be made that this raises a question. about the judgment, character judgment, quality judgment, competence judgment of President Trump himself. In his first term, he had 4 national security advisors. Yes. He kept changing them, including one that went and wrote a book, condemning him. So we're seeing a repeat of that poor judgment in terms of how he chooses his team. As for Marco Rubio has been told now he can be in charge of Secretary of State, he can be in charge of national security, he can be in charge of National Archives, he can be in charge of USAID. The last time we saw that was 50 years ago. When you had, what's his name again? The top diplomat, the name escapes me momentarily now. When he was in charge of Kissinger. I remember Henry Kissinger. When Henry Kissinger was both National Security Advisor and also Secretary of State. So that's that about that. He may go through Parliament, but let him not go and cause embarrassment. Yes. Now, as for which country is that you mentioned? DRC. Now, this is politics. I think the anxiety is about Joseph Kabila, who was president for 18 years after the assassination of his father, Laurent Kabila. And then he was Tshisekedi's friend, though. Yes, before he was forced out of the country. He then went to South Africa and got a PhD. He completed the PhD last year, and now there's this talk that, he may have returned to Goma. He's coming back to the country. I think Tshisekedi is just scared. And this is just in the nature of, African politics. But Kabila himself has refused to say anything. His party, the PPRD, they have said it's not back in Goma yet. But this is the thing about political survival. If somebody helps you to get to power, you will not want him to come back to come and threaten you. Finally, I think there will be another, in my view, a very important international issue, which is the May 3 election, tomorrow's election, federal elections. 150 seats in the lower house of representatives in Australia, and 50 out of the 76 seats in the Senate of, Australia. That's a big issue. Why it is a big issue is that we may likely have a repeat of what happened in Canada. Ordinarily in Australia, they don't talk about foreign issues, foreign alliances, but that's the big issue as Australia goes to the polls tomorrow. And it's Donald Trump. How is Australia going to play in the world? How are they going to fare under tariffs? And that has helped Albanese, Anthony Albanese. Yeah, that's the name of the Labour Party leader in Australia. Dupont has been saying he's like Trump, but it looks like the people of Australia are going to vote like the Canadians on the grounds of nationalism. But we'll see. After tomorrow. Yeah.
We will. Well, thank you all for your thoughts. Let's move on to newspaper headlines across the world. Let's start with This Day. Now, This Day this morning does leave with President Tinubu's May Day speech in which he pledges to address the high cost of living and fight corruption. First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu also added her voice to the celebration, saying that workers are the nation's backbone. Now, if we did a little deeper into today's This Day, we can also find news of President Tinubu's 2-day visit to Katsina, where he will discuss the security situation in the state, in addition to inaugurating the Katsina Agricultural Mechanical Center and a 24-kilometer dual carriageway, which was completed by Katsina State Governor Diko Rada, whose daughter is also getting married this weekend, and it is expected the president will be attending the wedding ceremony. Still on the topic of May Day celebrations, The Punch leads with Labour pushing for its 20-point demands, which include tax cuts and pension overhauls, which would see the retirement age pushed forward to 65 years. Now, the Daily Sun and the Vanguard, they both also dedicate their front pages to the May Day celebrations in different capacities. Now, the New Telegraph leads with insecurity. The ECOWAS protocol on transhumance is facing growing calls for review, particularly in Nigeria, due to concerns about its impact on security, land conflicts, and the commercialization of transhumans. Now, initially designed to facilitate peaceful pastoral mobility, the protocol is now seen as enabling criminal activities and undermining national security. Nigeria, in particular, is considering a review of its commitment to the protocol. Now, proponents of a review argue that the protocol's allowance for free movement has been exploited by criminal groups, including Boko Haram, who have allegedly used transhumance as a cover for their activities. Now, the Tribune leads with the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, starting a comprehensive investigation into alleged discrepancies surrounding the disbursement of student loans under the Nigeria Education Loan Fund. Now, the National Orientation Agency had alleged that certain schools working together with some banks have purposely delayed payments to students who qualified for loans so that they could make money off of the situation. This was a report, this was followed by a media report, actually, which alleged that some institutions had made unauthorized deductions ranging from 3,500 naira to 30,000 naira from each student's institutional fees received through the loan fund. That story is also picked up on the front page of the Daily Trust. Let's move on quickly to the United Kingdom. It's by-election season in England, and the Independent has Nigel Farage's Reform Party showing huge gains at the expense of Labour and the Conservatives. That says 1,600 seats are contested in 23 councils. And the Eye reports on Labour cracking down on the UK care workers visa, as it has reportedly become a vanishing migration scam. Now, insiders say that there's a clear misuse of the system, which is set up to bring NHS workers into the country very, very quickly. Lots of Nigerians have been able to benefit from that scheme, and it is unfortunate that the Labour government wants to be peeling away at it, because it's definitely going to have some effect on legitimate immigration candidates.
I want to talk about this. Okay, no time. Good.
Yeah. Sorry, Adefemi, thank you so much. Wish you a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, you too.
All right.